Hey everybody, I'm David, and today I want to talk about my favorite movies of 2017. These might not be the best for a lot of people, and that's fine. These are my favorite movies of 2017, the ones that I thought were the best at least. Maybe if they had some issues, maybe I'd let them slide because I enjoyed the movie so much that some of those issues were fine for me. But there were a lot of movies that I wanted to put on the list. Just to me, they didn't meet the expectations that I really wanted, or sometimes they did. But for me, there were so many good movies this year, or I felt anyways, that it was a tough list to decide the order of what I wanted to be in the top 10. So we are going to begin. 2017 is almost done, so let's get through this. My top 10 movies of 2017. At number 1, I have War for the Planet of the Apes. This was a really nice conclusion to the new Planet of the Apes trilogy, which started with Rise, continued on with Dawn, and ended with War. I am going to admit it's not my favorite of the trilogy, but it is a really satisfying ending that you can now have this trilogy be discussed when you talk about some of the all-time best trilogies. Yes, the Planet of the Apes trilogy is now up there for me with trilogies like the Star Wars trilogy, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy. If you want to throw in the Godfather trilogy, go for it. The Toy Story trilogy. These are trilogies where all three movies are really great. Actually, the Godfather trilogy, I don't like part 3, but unlike that one, War for the Planet of the Apes might be my least favorite of the bunch, but it's still a worthy successor in this trilogy, and one that helps this franchise offer something that I think the previous Planet of the Apes movies didn't, where they kind of went more of the campy route, which maybe for today's audiences don't resonate as much. I think the original Planet of the Apes movies are fun movies, but I get it if people don't like them because there are cheesy factors into this. This one takes a more serious approach and does it really, really well. And Andy Serkis, man, that's someone who deserves an Academy Award for something. Whether it's his acting or whether it's for mocap, I don't know. Give the man a special award for creating this new way of acting. Next on the list, I have at number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is one that a lot of people say didn't live up to the original. I disagree. I think this one was just as good as the original. I had a blast. Was there a lot of comedy more than the first one? Yeah, but that's the reason I thought made it a really enjoyable film. And I had a blast all the way through. I thought all the characters brought their A game. Drax obviously had the funniest moments. Yeah, he had a little bit more dramaticness in the first movie, but I really liked the humor they added to Drax. Baby Groot was also another highlight, and man, if you don't tear up at the end when after Yondu sacrifices himself and then they're at his funeral and all that, I get teared up. And not too many superhero movies specifically, I can say, have gotten me that emotionally invested in a character that I thought I would have been annoyed with after the first movie. But yeah, Michael Rooker, man, you're a great actor, man. You need to get on top of more movies like this. I think you're an enjoyable actor to watch. And Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana, all of these cast members are really great. And I can't wait to see the Guardians teaming up with the Avengers very, very soon. At number 7, I have Star Wars The Last Jedi. Oh, sorry, at number 8, I have Star Wars The Last Jedi. Star Wars The Last Jedi to me is not my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, but I think this was a worthy successor from The Force Awakens. It did things that I think a lot of people weren't expecting. I have thought about it more, and yeah, I do like the movie, but I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. Maybe it will take time for me to process the film. Sometimes that does happen where I watch a film multiple times and I enjoy it even more the second and third time around. There's been a couple of movies this year that was like that for me. I'll get to them very soon. But yeah, The Last Jedi, I really enjoyed. I thought definitely it's worth checking out more than once in theaters. And you got to respect its bold choices that it made. Some Star Wars fans are angry about it. Some were happy about it. I'm on the part where, I was happy about some of the changes. I really, I applaud them for taking those bold moves, and I thought, you know what, at least it's not the worst Star Wars movie ever made. It's not Phantom Menace, it's not Attack the Clones. So, and it's not those terrible Ewok movies, or it's not even close to the holiday special. This is a good movie, and if you're someone that thinks this is a bad movie, you need to get your eyes checked and go watch more movies, because, believe me, there's a lot worse movies than The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi, at its worst, is probably an okay movie. But for, I think, someone like me, I thought it was really good. I gave it an 8 out of 10, so there you go. Number 7, I have Spider-Man Homecoming. This is the newest entry to the Spider-Man. Actually, this is the newest entry to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's an all-new Spider-Man, not connected to the Tobey Maguire films, not connected to the Andrew Garfield films. This is the Spider-Man I really enjoyed the most. He felt like a high school student, a nerdy high school student, some sort of similar to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but he also had a more modern edge to him, similar to Andrew Garfield, where those two took like the far right and the far left. I feel like Tom Holland was perfectly placed in the middle. He felt like a real high school student, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was one of the funniest movies this year. I had a blast with it. I think a lot of people can agree they balanced the comedicness better than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. If you were someone that was disappointed with Guardians of the Galaxy going too much comedy, Spider-Man, I think a lot of people can agree, balanced it better. I've heard people say that anyways. For myself, I thought, yeah, it was a great movie. Probably my favorite Spider-Man movie right now. Sometimes I do think maybe Spider-Man 2 is the better one, but there is a part of me that says, nah, Spider-Man Homecoming is the best Spider-Man movie. Not just because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe references now that they can do that. It's just because I like this character and how well placed he is in this universe. Without the references aside, the character himself and his supporting cast make this such a joy to watch. At number 6, I have Thor Ragnarok. The Thor character, I can honestly say, aside from Spider-Man and the X-Men and whatever, Thor is probably my favorite Avenger. I don't know how many people I've told that to online. Yeah, more than Iron Man, more than Captain America, more than the Hulk. Thor is my favorite. And so going into this movie, I was kind of worried, especially when I heard that it was going to be an all-out comedy, even though you can kind of see that from the trailers. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, and I really enjoyed it the first time around, and I enjoyed it. This was one of those movies where when I saw it again for a second time, I enjoyed it even more. I loved every minute of it. I loved how they utilized Chris Hemsworth, his comedic capabilities. The Hulk was a great asset to this film. Loki, Tom Hiddleston, was a joy to watch. And not take itself so seriously. In some ways, people can say this is kind of like Deadpool level comedy, except it doesn't like swear and it keeps it at a PG-13 level. But it's like the craziness, the how far out there they'll go to do this comedy, which was really good, and some nice. It was kind of making fun of itself at the same time when it did some callbacks to previous MCU entries. Which I thought was hysterical. Yeah, I hope Chris Hemsworth continues doing some comedies because the guy has chops. He has the looks of a guy who can be badass, but at the same time he can do these funny moments and funny scenes, which I think really works well for him. So he should consider doing some more comedy. You know, he did that Vacation reboot, but that was terrible. He should find a comedy that's right for him and that can do something like that. I like to see him in more of that. But continue with the drama too, because you clearly have both. And yeah, so let's continue on. At number 5, once again, another movie that I've enjoyed a lot more with each viewing. At one point, this wasn't even my 5th favorite film, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, you know, I think a lot of people were worried about it. This was my most anticipated movie of 2017. And even though it didn't come to number 1, it is still nicely placed, I feel, at number 5. I'm very satisfied with this movie. And the more I watch it, the more I love it. Just like Guardians of the Galaxy, this one gets me a little teary-eyed too. There's some nice moments, character moments throughout this entire film, and that's what's very important about a movie. Yeah, it's cool when we get some really cool badass action sequences, but when we can get some great character moments, especially the love story between Steve Trevor and Diana. Like, there are very few superhero movies that have a good love interest, and the love interest with these two works so well, like almost as well, or no, even better, I would say, than Agent Carter and Steve Trevor, or Steve Rogers from Captain America, or Tony Stark and Pepper Potts from Iron Man. I put this one definitely over a lot of them, and I think it's because of the chemistry between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, who are both excellent in these roles, and in this World War I setting, I think it really helped separate itself from Captain America, the First Avenger, which took place in World War II. And besides, Wonder Woman, I think, took a little bit more of a realistic approach when it came to the war setting, where I feel you can feel the fantasy aspects in the First Avenger. I feel like Wonder Woman definitely played more realistically with the war, which I thought added something different to it as well. At number 4, I have Coco. This is Pixar's newest film, and this was a really fun delight. Storytelling, animation-wise, very emotional. A movie I think that if you are someone that holds family close to your heart, I think this is one that everybody should check out. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is a really, really great Pixar film. So, moving on. At number 3, I have The Disaster Artist. I really love this movie, man. The Room is one of the worst movies ever made, directed by Tommy Wiseau. So when this movie was announced, I think I was expecting it to be more of a comedy. But they did have some heartwarming moments and some moments where you actually are rooting for Tommy, even though he's a jerk once in a while. You are rooting for him to make this movie, going after his goals, going after his dreams, and he succeeds, maybe not in the way he wants, but he succeeds in a way where at least people are talking about his movie. At least people are watching it and getting a kick out of it. And I think he's embraced that in real life, the real Tommy Wiseau. I think James Franco and Dave Franco were great in this movie. Obviously, James Franco steals the show. I heard, James Franco directed the movie as well. This was a really fun film, and I can't wait to check it out again when it hits Blu-ray. I'm definitely going to buy this one. There's not really much more else I can say. You can check out my review for the film that I've done. And so go check out The Disaster Artist. Check out The Room first. I think it will add to the experience once you know what The Room is. Watch it with a group of friends. Never watch that movie alone, because you'll be bored to tears and wonder to yourself, is my life really this bad? But But then go watch the Disaster Artist right after, and believe me, you'll have. I think you'll appreciate The Room a lot and look at it from a different perspective of someone who's at least succeeded at something and is now known for it for the rest of his life. At number 2, I have Split. Split was a movie that I was going to avoid. I wasn't interested in it. I don't like horror movies, but it was being said to be a PG-13 horror, so then that kind of got me to look at it a little bit more. But what really got me to go to see this movie was I heard there was a big twist at the end, which I'm not going to spoil here. And this twist piqued my interest a lot. I spoiled myself, and I'm happy I did, because if it wasn't for the spoiler, I probably wouldn't have gone to see this movie. It's an M. Night Shyamalan film, so you're always expecting a twist, but not a twist to this level. And I think if it wasn't for this twist, I wouldn't be excited about it. I think everybody knows what the twist is, but just in case. But it's getting me really excited for M. Night Shyamalan's next film, Glass. So if you want to know what this twist is, I'll say this. Go and watch M. Night Shyamalan's first 3 films. One of them is important to this movie. I'll say go watch The Sixth Sense, go watch Unbreakable, go watch, what was his third one? Signs. Signs was a good one. I liked Signs, mostly because I like aliens. And then skip all the other ones, and then go watch Split, because Split is his return to form, and I'm hoping Glass will continue that, because it's very important now. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Finally, my number 1 film of 2017, Logan. Logan was such a great film. Now, this is a film I wasn't sure if it was going to make my number 1. And when I saw it, man, was I blown away. And this is coming from someone who usually doesn't care for Westerns. It's funny because this movie feels like a Western. And maybe I should watch more Westerns now, maybe the good ones. I'll try to find a list of the best Westerns out there. I've seen Unforgiven. It was all right. I've seen 3:10 to Yuma. It was cool. But I never really loved a Western. And if this is what a real, true Western feels like, man, did they do such a great job with it. It was a nice, great send-out for the character of Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, who's been playing this role for 17 years, and he gives it his all. Patrick Stewart is amazing in this movie. We got a newcomer, Daphne Keane, who plays X-23, who I thought was really great as well. The villains were intimidating in this movie. This was a nice, really great send-out for Hugh Jackman. It's going to be sad when we have to face reality one day that he is no longer our Wolverine, and someone else will be, because that's what these characters are. Some actors will play it better than others, but there's always going to be someone to replace it, because these characters are everlasting. They will always pass on the torch to another actor who's going to, run the next mile of the marathon, because that's what these characters are. We've seen it done with Batman. We've seen it done with Superman. We've even seen it done with James Bond, who is a non-comic book character. These characters are just that. They are supposed to be everlasting, and to be everlasting, you have to give the character to a new actor who will continue that legacy at playing that role. So I hope you guys like my list. That's the last movie on my list, was Logan. Tell me your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you disagree with me, that's cool too. We all have different opinions. And with that being said, I will be doing my list of movies, top 10 movies I'm looking forward to of 2018. So that will happen before the new year, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. It will definitely happen before the new year. So until then, guys, I'm going to end this video and say, like my video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, why don't you comment below and put your top 10 of 2017, because we all have different opinions. And until next time, take care.